things got a little heated on this morning on CNBC while Andrew Ross Sorkin was talking with the creator of the Tea Party movement. Yes, it does have an origin story. Rick Santelli, who is, yes, indeed, still alive and still at CNBC. They were talking about lockdowns, and there were a lot of different movements to this opera. So let's start with the first one.
Can't tell me that shutting down, which is the easiest answer, is necessarily the only answer.
Rick, I just as a public health and public service announcement for the audience, the difference between a big box retailer.
Who is this?
Hold on. The difference between it's Andrew. The difference between a big box retailer. Hold on. The difference between a big box retailer and a restaurant, or frankly, even a church, are so different, it's unbelievable. Going into a big box retailer,
I disagree.
You're wearing
You can
a mask.
have your thoughts and I can have mine.
You're required to wear a mask.
I disagree.
It's science. I'm sorry. It's science. If you're wearing a mask, it's a different.
I just love the WWE, like, Chris Jericho, like listening to the other guy, like in his face, just like.
Sir, you're not that tough. Just the thing that keeps popping into my mind while this is all happening is, this is the business channel. This is literally
this is like what this is what like our Wall Street overlords are watching.
It's like, I thought Coke was just the 80s, but like they must. I don't know if he's like on some kind of, I don't know what it is, but like, yes, this is the guy, this is the Tea Party villain. This is the guy who basically said like, yeah, we should have a Tea Party now. And then it happened. He's the godfather of Tea Party. His justification on why indoor dining should be allowed. The altercation ended with the hosts accusing each other of doing a quote disservice to the audience. So let's take a look at that a little bit.
500 people in a Lowe's aren't any safer than 150 people in a restaurant that holds 600. I don't believe it. Sorry. Don't believe it. And I live in an area where there's a lot of restaurants that have fought back and they don't have any problems. And they're open.
Okay, you don't have to believe it. But let me just say this: you're doing a disservice to the viewer because the viewers need to understand it.
You are doing a disservice to the viewer. You are.
I'm sorry. If I would like to keep our viewers as healthy as humanly possible. The idea of packing people into restaurants.
I think our viewers are smart enough to make part of those decisions on their own.
Completely different things.
I don't think that I'm much smarter than all the viewers like some people do.
Ooh, like some people do.
When the best advice I probably got about like talking to your audience is assume that they are smart, but don't assume they know everything. Like assume they are intelligent people who respond to more information because they might just might not have had time to find it. I think that's a really good guiding principle. But that is what it seems like Sorkin's trying to do there, is give them more information. And what I see from Santelli over there is there's definitely like a thing about people who are on CNBC where they're either wildly boring or they want to simulate the intensity of to kind of show you why stock traders have hypertension.
Right. Like the Jim Cramer.
Yeah. Oh God, it's happening. I gotta do it. And then they all want to fight harder for the businesses than everyone else because this is a self-selecting group. This is the business owners and the people who are, minding the ticker at the bottom when it's just a stock trade ticker, and they want to pay service to them. It's nuts. And what I hate about this is, as company, it's very simple. Companies are need to respond to the pandemic that is obviously doesn't care about whether people get it or not. Like they don't care if you really understand the threat or not. The virus is going to do damage and we need to figure out a way to mitigate that damage. But all these people on the right are pretending that the left isn't also saying we should have some kind of aid package to pay for the negative effects of that on the economy. If we have to actually take action to make America safer, we should also give people an economic lifeline. And this guy is just the ultimate version of that.
Well, he's also just a reflection. I mean, the fact that this is on the business channel, as you say, is instructive because he's a reflection that the ruling class is split on the coronavirus. The ruling class isn't often split on issues, but this is one of the rare instances where they are. I mean, there's some people in the ruling class who are legitimately afraid of the virus, and there's other people in the ruling class who just like love going to restaurants and they miss going out to like a swanky place in Manhattan because they need to get out of the house. They need to hang out with like their buddies and get plastered and have their driver take them home back to their like wives and stuff like that. So yeah, it's there's a split, and that's like what's reflected in that debate between Santelli and Andrew Ross Sorkin. But yeah, I mean, it's if you don't pay people to stay home, there will be a political movement to not stay home. Like that's just the reality of it, because people need to work to make a living, like they just need to survive. And so like I have sympathy for restaurant owners who are like in dire straits and desperate because they're getting no relief and they're being asked to like basically destroy their livelihoods. So it's just again a massive failure of every system that we have in place, a massive failure of leadership, a massive failure of everything. I mean, I shudder at the thought of like what is going to come after this, because it's just not going to be pretty. I mean, the politics of our country, which were already dysfunctional and very insane, are only going to get more insane as a result of this. It's just that's my kind of sense out of all of this.
Yeah, and as the Dab Dragon says in the Twitch chat, cocaine you can rehab, Republican, that's unfixable.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's really good. I do want to, this is the last bit we'll play from this guy, but here's a flashback to the advice given by one of the people in that video when coronavirus kind of reared its head on March 5th. Take a look.
Think about how the world would be if you tried to quarantine everybody because of the generic type flu. Now, I'm not saying this is the generic type flu, but maybe we'd be just better off if we gave it to everybody, and then in a month it would be over, because the mortality rate of this probably isn't going to be any different if we did it that way than the long-term picture. But the difference is we're wreaking havoc on global and domestic economies.
So let's kill 2% of America.
Yeah, leftovers. Yeah. I remember that was like a thing that certain people on the right were advocating on in the early times of the pandemic, is like inject every healthcare worker and like cop and firefighter with COVID, kill off like the weaklings, and then all our frontline workers would be immune to the disease. It was just like, wow, you are a sociopath.
Great. So stupid.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.